Blind Love. In the quiet town of Crescent Valley, there lived a young woman named Clara. Her world had always been one of darkness. Born blind, she had never seen the faces of her family or the beauty of the world around her. Yet, she had learned to navigate life with a sense of grace and resilience. Her other senses were heightened, and she had a remarkable ability to listen to the world in a way that others could not. Clara worked as a pianist at a small cafe in town. She spent her days filling the air with the sounds of soft melodies, a skill she had honed since she was a child. The cafe was a cozy, inviting place, and Clara's music was a source of comfort for its regular patrons. Though she could not see their faces, she could feel the emotions in their silence as they listened to her play. The music had become her language, her way of communicating with the world. One evening, as Clara was preparing to perform, a young man named Daniel entered the cafe. He was new to the town, having recently moved from the city, and he was immediately captivated by the sound of Clara's music. He had heard of her from the locals, who spoke of her extraordinary talent and her ability to convey deep emotions through the piano. Daniel took a seat in the corner of the cafe, ordering a cup of tea as he listened to Clara play. He noticed how she seemed to lose herself in the music, her fingers dancing effortlessly over the keys. There was something magical about her presence, something that pulled him in. He had heard that Clara was blind, but her music made it seem as though she could see the emotions she conveyed with each note. Over the next few weeks, Daniel became a regular visitor to the cafe, always sitting in the same corner, listening to Clara's performances. He never approached her, knowing that she couldn't see him, but he felt an unspoken connection to her through her music. As he got to know the other patrons and the cafe staff, he learned more about Clara's life, the challenges she faced and the independence she had cultivated despite her blindness. One evening, after Clara had finished playing, Daniel gathered the courage to speak to her. He approached the piano and gently called her name. "Clara." His voice was soft but filled with admiration. Clara turned toward the sound of his voice, recognizing it as that of the man who had been coming to listen to her play. She smiled, though she couldn't see him. "Hello," she said, her voice warm and welcoming. I just wanted to say that your music is beautiful," Daniel said, his voice betraying the emotions he felt. "It's like you can see the music, even though you can't see anything at all." Clara chuckled softly. "I don't need to see to feel it," she replied. "The music speaks to me in a way that words cannot. It's the only language I know." Daniel was silent for a moment, contemplating her words. There was something about Clara's confidence and the way she embraced life that touched him deeply. He realized that, despite her blindness, she saw the world in a way he never could, through the depth of her emotions and the purity of her music. In the days that followed, Daniel and Clara began to spend more time together. He would sit beside her after her performances, talking about life and sharing his own dreams and fears. They learned about each other, not through sight, but through conversation, touch, and the unspoken connection that grew between them. Over time, Daniel realized that he had fallen in love with her, not for how she looked, but for who she was. Their love blossomed quietly, away from the eyes of the world. It was a love built on understanding, patience, and the deep connection that transcended sight. Clara, in turn, found in Daniel not just a companion, but someone who saw her for the person she truly was, not defined by her blindness, but by her strength, her music, and her heart. And so, in a world where sight was often considered everything, Clara and Daniel discovered that love, true love, had nothing to do with what one could see, but everything to do with what one could feel.